Okay. Hello, guys. We're recording this one, and we haven't in a long time, and so we're test running it. But thanks for coming. If you thought it was going to be a spring tabletop, sorry, it's not going to be. If you filled out our customer survey, we got a lot of feedback, like to do new Mondays and Mimosas topics, which I agree. I want to do new fun stuff, so we're gonna do furniture arranging. So I got a little arts and crafty last night getting this all together. So I hope it translates. I was trying to think of the best way to like show you guys how I kind of do my process, but I do it on a program online. So I'm doing this all like miniature on my computer. I figured for you guys in the audience, it would be better to kind of blow it up and do it a little more hands-on. Because usually I do this for all my people and then I like just print out like different little options of layouts. Or if you have a weird room and you really only have one option, I show you that option, what's going to work best. So, without further ado, does anyone have any like odd configurations in their own home that you're hoping to kind of figure out by being here? Or all just curiosity? Yeah.
Well, I have a real open ranch. Walk in the door, I never know where to put things.
Okay.
We have a fireplace, and then the TV.
Okay.
There's just not much room to put anything in. It's open.
Totally.
It's no walls.
We're gonna go over, I don't know your dimensions or anything, but at kind of like the end of the presentation, we're gonna go over kind of like an open floor plan and how to separate that into little sections. So she was saying she has a real open plan ranch and doesn't kind of know how to arrange things and fit things in an efficient way. So we're gonna go over that. I think you promise. That's more towards the end, but to start, I've got like 8 main things that when I see somebody's home, I kind of like keep in mind. Um, so the first being functionality, I'm gonna ask you, how do you use this room? Is this used a lot or is it just really for show? I'm gonna ask, how many people do you have coming over on a regular basis and sitting in your rooms? How much seating do we need? How many butts do we need to fit in seats? How many drinks do we need to put on tables? How many, you know what I mean? So how are you going to use this? And functionality wise, like what do I need to fit into this space to make it work for you? And is it going to work or do we need to come up with a different plan? Does that make sense? So really, functionality is just literally how you're going to use this room. And then number 2 being flow. So where are you coming in and out of this room? Does this room have one entrance to it or is it kind of a walkway? Like, do we need to leave a path? When you're walking, you preferably want 36 inches, 3 feet for a walkway. That's kind of, in some ways, in some places, you can kind of get away with squeezing. If we're squeezing between like a sofa and a chair, we can get away with a little bit smaller, but typically, rule of thumb, you want 36 inches of walkway when you're trying to get, like when you're on a mission and you don't want things in your way, you got to have 3 feet. Okay, more or less. I say 30 inches minimum when I'm working with people. Otherwise, you're going to feel like you're like squeezing, like through your little basement, little alleys through all of your stuff piled up. That's how my basement is. It's terrifying because I love stuff. But yeah, so where are your walking paths and how much room do we need to leave? Number 3 is balancing the room. So there are a lot of problems. One of my clients, Rebecca, she's in the back today. She has a huge, sorry, putting on the spot, a huge fireplace. And then on one side, a door, and another side is like a big old space. So that's really hard to kind of like reconcile with your eye. Your eye wants to see balance. It doesn't necessarily have to be symmetrical. It just has to kind of satisfy your eye's need for balance. Does that make sense? So I always talk about, most of you are regulars, I always talk about like, I don't know the science behind it. It's just what your eye likes to see, okay? Like your eye wants to see. That's the reason on a mantle or bookcases we do like tall on the outside and in, like we build triangles because that's what your eye likes to see. When we're doing a big bookcase, we put focal points at the top left and focal points at the bottom right That's how your eye moves, okay? So we're trying to create balance in everything that we do, okay? Does that make sense? Number 4, and an important one, drinks. Where are we putting drinks? I know I touched on that in the first one about functionality, but like every single one of you has something, a drink. Obviously, I did not set this up like a good room because not all of you have room to put your drinks, okay? So when you do a sofa, you've got to have a table in front of it or a chair or a side table next to it. You know what I mean? There's got to be somewhere to set something, your TV remote, your drink, your plate, your whatever. And you need to be lit. You need to have lamps or some kind of lighting for every seat. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions so far? None? You guys are quiet. I'm like flying through this. Yeah.
I'll just throw in something that we'll have to be dealing with in our living room, and that is lighting when you don't want cords going across your room.
Mm-hmm.
And we may be replacing our floor and putting outlets in the middle of the floor, but if, until we do that, that's what pops into my mind.
Yeah.
How am I going to light this space?
It's very hard.
Nicely.
Yeah.
And then you move your furniture because I have that, and it's like, oh, it still shows now.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one.
Right. It is. So yeah.
When we bought our house, the reason we bought it was because they had just laid down some really pretty wood floors in the great room. And unfortunately, they had the big entertainment center on this wall, and we had to put it on this wall because it wasn't big enough. So the biggest decision we made was to put outlets in the floor, and that about killed us because I was like, oh my god, we can't destroy these wood floors. But that's the best thing we ever did. We had an electrician come in and we put
I was gonna say
outlets in the strategic places, one by a chair and one by the sectional. What a difference.
I promise you it is worth whatever cost it is because you're going to be so limited as to what you can do with your furniture arranging if you cannot plug things in to the floor.
It really
right.
It
yeah.
It was just breaking through those wood floors.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they have really good like little covers and you can get a pretty brass one. And yeah, it's not, and anyone coming into your house seeing your little brass outlet is not going to be like, what is she doing? Like, it's fine. We need plugs. Lamps run off electricity, so we gotta do what we gotta do. It is the best. Again, it's not a super high cost for what freedom it kind of allows you in terms of arranging your furniture in a way that's going to work for your space and how you're using it. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. Zoning. This is going to apply to you probably since you have such an open floor plan. People with an open floor plan are like so scared to use the space that they have. It is like a chronic issue. People are just like scared to fill it up too much. They get like tiny little furniture and then they put it all against the walls. And then it's like you have this huge open ballroom of a house and you're like, it looks so weird and like a museum and it's very like echo, like you can hear, it's crazy. Okay. I don't know what you want. I don't want my house feeling like an echo chamber. I don't want my house feeling like a ballroom or a museum or like, I don't want to be at the St. Louis Art Museum. I love that place. I don't want it to be my house. Okay. I want to feel comfy, cozy. I want to be sitting on my sofa. I want to, you know what I mean? I want to feel warm and kind of like enveloped. Okay. Whatever room I'm in, it doesn't matter. I want to feel cozy. So breaking your room up into different kind of zones of functionality is going to like enclose the space, and everyone argues with me and says, isn't that going to make the room look smaller? No. It's going to make it more functional. It's going to make it just easier to use. You girls can come up here. You're going to be front and center. And come over here or over here. That's all right. Yeah. We're gonna have to sit with my Starbucks. Okay, so open floor plan, catch you guys up. Breaking it into zones is not going to make your room look smaller. It's going to make it more functional. It's going to allow you to use the space that you do have in a way that again, is functional and will work for you. Okay. We're going to go over that later. And then number 6, wall hugging. I kind of just said that with the open floor plan. If you're someone who puts every single piece of furniture on the wall and you just have a room with sofa, chairs, bookshelf, like everything pushed against a wall, we got to stop it. We got to pull it in. We got to make it cozy and comfy. We've got to, I see it all the time. And it's, you have like a 38-inch coffee table that's 45 inches away from like your sofa and all of the chairs. It's not usable. So you've got to kind of bring everything in and make the room again like cozy, comfortable. It's more aesthetically pleasing. Like your eye just feels like, okay, this is a comfy room that I can sit down and kick my feet up in. And we're focusing on like living areas, living spaces today. But if you have any other areas, of course, find me after, we can go over them. But we're focusing on like living rooms, formal living room, all that. Okay. Number 7. Okay. Number 7, I called it eyes on the horizon, because if you do have a small room and you have windows, keeping things, so when you enter your room and you're making an eye line for the windows, if you keep the things right in front of you, kind of low to the ground, like keep sofas, chairs, you know what I mean? All of those little things. Don't do a wing back, keep it a low chair, just in your direct eye line, okay? We want height in every room. So on either side of the eye line, you definitely want taller pieces of furniture. But when we're right in direct eye line, it's going to make your room feel bigger because you can see kind of through it. Does that make sense? So that's just like a little tip trick. And then 8, focus. I also have so many clients that, whether it be confusion on the client's part and they just like don't really know how to arrange things, or just like a house that was built either a long time ago or just by an architect or contractor who did not have foresight, things are sometimes in weird spots. I have a client who, she has a real long skinny room, and in the very direct middle is a fireplace, and then on the whole other end of the room is her TV, okay? And it's really the only place to put the TV. So that was a real struggle. We had to, it sounds so strange, but we got, I think her sectional was 12 feet long one way and then like 90 inches the other way. So it sounds crazy. It works so well in her room because it like takes up that space and kind of creates a one little room and one little sitting area, and it allows for focus to be on the TV while including the fireplace still, because the focus, she was trying to make the focus on the TV or on the fireplace, but then she was saying she feels so far away from the TV, obviously, you know what I mean? So just adding that extra seating and kind of closing that room off and directing attention towards the TV kind of gave us what we wanted in that room. So there's always little weird options that sound kind of crazy, and then when you get them in the room, you're like, yes. And that's why I do floor planning like I'm about to show you, because you gotta kind of play around with it. And I'm gonna show you guys how we kind of play around and like where my brain starts and how we can edit and move, and you know what I mean. If you want to sit down, you can, there's a seat right here or up here. Yeah. Okay, is there any questions before we start? Has anyone thought of any crazy room configurations? Do you guys have any crazy room configurations? Okay, she's got 50. Hopefully we'll hit something. Hit a note somewhere that you'll appreciate. I'm gonna take a drink of my coffee and then we'll get started. Again, I was like crafting in my living room last night. My boyfriend's like sitting on the sofa like, what are you doing? As I'm like madman cutting things out. Okay. Yeah. I do have a computer program. I'm like not that in the Stone Age. But for some reason I'm not great at the mirroring the computer to the TV to the little presentation thing, I thought, well, be hands-on. Okay. So this is if you have a smaller home, or you have a home that was built a very long time ago. I used to have a house that was built in 1941 out in South City, and like all of the houses by me were built almost identical, and they all had this kind of like skinny but long front living room. Okay, this happens a lot. I see it still, like kind of in the houses out here that weren't built in the 40s, that were built closer to now. It's not easy to get all of the seating that you want. But again, this is where I come in and I say, be real with me. How are we using the room? Because if you're like, I never have people over, I don't care if people sit down, then like we can be like real cute, okay? We can do just like some sweet little like wooden chairs, you know what I mean? Like we can be real fun with it. But if you're like, I have 4 grandkids, and I have kids, and I have Bible study, and I have my book club, and I have blah 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 blah, whatever you have. We need to really sit down and rack our brains on this. You know what I mean? So, I'll get started. Also, we're gonna go over rugs, because that's another thing that almost everyone messes up, and it like makes me nauseous. Okay, when I come into, I don't care. I don't care. I might make you mad. I don't care what room it is. If it is not the entryway or like a bathroom and I see a 5x7 rug, like like 8x10, if it fits in your room, you need to put it in there. You only need 24-ish inches from the wall, ish, if that, for the rug to fit. Okay. A 5x7 rug in a living room is my pet peeve. It is horrible. I'm going to show you. I cut out rugs. Hold place. This is what it looks like. This is what I see all the time. I see a sofa. I see, be patient with me. I see a love seat, whatever. And then I see a 5x7 rug. Does anyone have this in their living room? Is anyone lying to me? Someone's lying. So, well, kind of. But a 5x7 rug should never be in a living room. I will stand by that forever. And because you're not going to have a living room that's 6x8. Do you know what I mean? Like your room is going to be at least, a living room is probably never going to be smaller. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen it. It's probably never going to be smaller than like a 12 by, what did I write this? A 12 by 20. It's probably never going to be smaller than like 12 by 18.
I live in a tiny
12 by 16.
900 square foot apartment. I have an 8x10 rug.
I live.
It's great. Love it.
My house is 1,300 square feet and has 3 bedrooms shoved in it. I have a small living room. I have an 8x10. Okay. I pinky promise. Yes, it does depend on the room. A 5x7 is made for an entry, a bath, maybe a kitchen with like a 38 to 42 inch round table. That might work. But other than that, no. Okay. Ah, I threw it on the ground. That's how much I feel. That's how strongly I feel about it. Okay. So we're going to start with, I'm taking these off because, okay. So we're going to start with our 8x10 rug. And we're gonna, okay. See? It works. I pinky promise. And you don't, I know some people have beautiful hardwood floors. Everyone has like either a floor that they like, whatever, that they're like, I don't want to cover it up with a rug. Please cover it up. Your floors are not the focal point of your room. They're like an accent, okay? It's like the building block. You're supposed to layer on top of it, okay? Are you gonna not have a sofa because you want to see your floors? You want a rug to layer. Otherwise, again, it's gonna contribute to that like echo, echo. Like it's the same thing.
That's not gonna go over.
I'll argue. I will argue with the husband. So, yeah. So, rugs. We've got to get them. We have to have them. Has to be a layer. Your room is not going to look complete without a rug. And if it's too small, you might as well not have it. 8 by 10 fits in this little 12 by 20 room. Okay. Does anyone want to like take a stab at how they would arrange this? Fireplace. I'm so sorry. I didn't label that. This is a fireplace. Hold on.
So if you guys are starting to visualize, our lodge room has the same setup. So if you've ever been in our lodge or our boutique area, it has the same setup.
Oh, the boys' room. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The brown room back there. Super cute. We just painted it. If you haven't seen it yet, go look at it. It's really cute. Okay. So fireplace. I'm going to show you what I see a lot of the time, and then we're going to fix it. Okay. So, living room. We're focusing on, right. We're focusing on living room. We're going to go through all of the options. Okay. So these are all living rooms, just so you know. This is what I see a lot. If we had a TV in here, I would put it over the fireplace, which I hate. If you can have a man cave or a den or somewhere else where you can have a TV and then you can have a living room where it's all about family time and focusing on talking, games, the fire, reading a book, drinking hot cocoa, whatever it may be, I prefer it. If not, a TV hopefully will go on top of your fireplace on your mantle. If not, it kind of creates, like I was saying earlier, that client that I worked with where we had the fireplace and then we had the TV a million miles away. Okay. And it always creates that kind of issue. Or you're like wanting to face the fireplace, but you have to put your TV over there and your neck is craned the whole time. It just like doesn't work. So if you have to have a TV in the living room, it unfortunately, yeah.
The frame TVs are nice.
Yes. Yeah. Rebecca has a frame TV.
Frame TV above our fireplace, so you display artwork and you can change the artwork, and you can get classics, you can get modern.
Yeah.
You can enter your own images.
Yeah.
The frame TV, and it looks like it's a picture.
It is really pretty.
And then you can switch it to watch TV.
Yeah.
And we found that to be a good solution. And I did have to sort of push it with my husband. He didn't really want a TV above the fireplace. It does work.
Mm-hmm.
It won't burn your TV. There's no heat issues. And it's worth it to get the frame TV.
Totally.
He's glad we did it now.
Yeah.
For Samsung. Yes.
Yeah.
There is another brand now, but I do have the Samsung. And it's a little skinny wire is the only wire that goes up to the TV.
Right.
So we did not have to hide. We didn't have to drill through the brick.
Yeah.
For the electric to go up there, because the way they make it, this little skinny wire just went in between the brick and you couldn't even see it. It's like invisible. No, the frame TV is very pretty. Do you girls want to come up here and sit? I have two more chairs. You're okay. That's okay. We're blaming you. Perfect. Yes, frame TV is a very good option. I am not a proponent of a TV in a living room again, but like it has to happen sometimes. So we're gonna work with it. If you ever came to a Mondays and Mimosas with Jeannie Hood, she would have said, "No TVs in the living room." We got to be flexible. It has to be functional. People like to host parties and Super Bowls and whatever. So we got to have a TV in the living room sometimes. It's okay. If you don't have another little den to put it in the living room. We'll work with it. Hopefully it can go above the fireplace. So anyway, this is what I see all the time. And then people say,
This is my way up.
and then people say, I don't know, it just feels like really cold and like I just don't feel really homey and it's just like not working. Or wait, I'm gonna add one more thing. Hold please. Because I'm not making this up. I wish I was. Okay. This is a chair. This is a chair. People love to push a chair in a corner. I don't know what it is. Okay. Yeah. Is this familiar? I hear some giggles. Okay. Everything pushed against a wall. Remember when I said wall hugger? Okay. So I drew this room, hypothetically speaking, but this is how I see a lot. So like maybe your front door is here, you walk in, you have a big opening to your living room, and then you have a door to like whatever, dining room, whatever. Okay. So this is like my hypothetical room. So yes, whoever designed this living room had the right idea when it comes to like walking space, but like overthought it. Okay. Like I need room and I don't know what else to do against this window or against these windows or whatever. Okay. So we are going, oh my God, I'm kicking things. I feel bad now. I'm blocking your view. Okay. If you're like, I need to see, tell me to move. But okay, we're going to take this off. And we're going to take this love seat off. Also, for some reason, I know people love a love seat. I don't. I hate a love seat. It really drives me a little bit batty. Okay. That's a personal preference. If you like a love seat and we need to work with it, it's totally fine. But I just like don't think they're that cute. Again, personal preference. I don't know. Okay. So what this person did do right was get an 8x10 rug. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Take up as much space as you want. I have a 9x13 cutout, two 8x10s cut out, and a 5x7 just because those are the most typical sizes-ish. Also, an 8x10 rug is usually something like 8 3x10 6 or whatever the heck. So they're never going to be a real 8x10, but you get the picture. Okay. This is ish. So if I talk to you and I say, how many people are sitting in your house at any given time? And you're like, I don't really like having people over. I just want it to look nice. And if I have a couple friends over, I want to be able to have a little bit of seating. Okay. I'm going to say, we're going to make this thing real cute. We're going to start with obviously a sofa. Okay. Not obviously, you could do something else, but we're going to start with a sofa. And I am going to center that sofa with the fireplace off the wall a little bit. Okay. You don't have to shove all your stuff. You don't even have to put something behind it. Just bring it off the wall a little bit. I promise. I don't know what it is. Again, it's not science. It's just your eyeball liking something. Pull it off the wall a tiny bit if you can. It's just going to make your room feel more classic, traditional, pretty. You know what I mean? Instead of, I don't know. I don't even know what to compare it to. Okay. So my next inkling would be I'm going to add 2 chairs because if you have 4 people over plus you, adding 2 chairs will give you 5 seats. Perfect. Easy. That's good. Okay. So I'm going to add our 2 chairs here. Okay. So again, you're looking in and you're seeing the sofa is balancing with the fireplace and you're getting 2 chairs. It's nice and pretty. Okay. Do you see how that would balance? Okay. And it's not too much furniture, but you know me. We're going to go in and we're going to add under these windows. We're going to add like a little console table or, something to add little texture because you don't want to leave all of this space to waste. You want to add something pretty. And again, I know I said it's all about functionality, but you want your house to look pretty and not cold like a museum. So you want to add
decoration. You want to add a spot that you can use to display. Again, you're going to do 2 lamps because you're not going to get much lighting by these chairs because we can't really fit. We're going to put a table here, but we can't really fit a ton of lighting. And I hate an overhead lighting. If you're using overhead light, it's probably your husband that wants to use overhead light. Get him out. So we're going to add the console table. We'll put 2 lamps on there. We'll decorate it. It'll look so cute, super pretty, whatever. Okay. And then to flank the fireplace, a lot of people have 2 windows flanking the fireplace. That's normal. If you don't, you're going to put big cabinets. If you do have little windows, either put 2 little benches, little bench seats, or put 2 little like consoles. We have what's called the Roosevelt cabinet from Bramble that's like 42 inches. It's like 39 high. It's just a sweet little cabinet, again, to anchor the space. And I would put those under the window. And again, if you don't want to block like natural light, or if the windows go all the way to the floor, put like a little bench there or little ottomans, you know what I mean? Put something there to, again, anchor that room. Does that make sense? Where we're going so far? Okay. And then I'm going to add a side table that can be used by both the chair and the sofa. And then this poor little chair, remember how I said everyone needs a place to put their drink? This poor little chair doesn't have anywhere to put their drink. So I would normally, just since we have so many square things in the room, I would normally do kind of a circle coffee table or a circle ottoman. But in order for this chair to have a very usable space to put their drinks or whatever they're using, we're going to try a coffee table that is like rectangle, so that they have an area to put their drinks. Does that make sense? Questions, comments, concerns? We're leaving room for entry. We're leaving room for a wide berth for walking. Okay. We're not going to be shuffling through, and we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seats. Okay.
Would you not even put a chair in the corner?
Everyone loves to put a chair in a corner. You don't need it. No, you don't need it. If you think you might need extra seating and you want to layer like a little ottoman there, okay, just something a little cutesy, or like a more of like a pretty chair, yeah, not necessarily a like club chair or anything. If you want to just, yeah, like a occasional chair, a little wood chair with a pretty seat, like that would be fine. You don't need it. Okay.
Is there a rule? Put on the rule. That say how much of the furniture has to sit on the carpet?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, good call. So you want like half to 3/4 of the furniture to be on the rug, which again, if you have a 5x7 rug, is impossible, which is why you want an 8x10. If this took up more of these chairs, or if we wanted to move these chairs more on, it would be totally fine. But yeah, you want half to 3/4 of your furniture sitting on the rug. Does that make sense? That's also a mistake I see people make all the time. Again, people love to shove things in corners, so they have like their 8x10 rug, which I'm like, yay, and then their furniture is still like shoved to the wall. So I'm like, no. Yeah. Any other questions?
What different rule was for that? But like dining room chairs, so much, 12 inches, right?
Yes. No, you
pushed in.
Would, yes, pushed in. You need at least 12. At least 12. Okay. Yeah, you need space because you want to be able to push your or pull your chair out, sit down, pull it in without coming off of the rug. And most people are wider than 12 inches. You know what I mean? I mean, not wider than 12 inches, but some people are. And you got to have room to kind of squeeze your little butt in there and get comfy and pull it back up without going off the rug, because then it gets caught when you're pushing it back onto the rug and it's just a whole thing. You want your rug to be big enough. I cannot stress that enough. Okay. Any other questions on this room? Oh, we're going to say, I have a bunch of grandkids. Cool. Perfect. Let's take this off. Take this off. I'm going to take this sofa off, this side table off, and then we're going to add a sectional. Sectionals, like, we went through a little period of kind of hating them a little bit. I never really hated them. They are functional. They're less versatile. So I know people get tired of kind of like how their living rooms are set up sometimes and like to move things around, whatever. You can't really do that with a sectional. You really order a sectional for where you're going to put it. But if you're fine with that, get a sectional. If you need a bunch of seating, get a sectional. I know that, like, especially this is essentially a replica of this sectional that I have here in the next room. And I don't know if you guys like your family or not, but I could fit probably 15 of my family members on there because we're real close and cuddly. But if you're not that close, then I don't know what to tell you. But if we throw this sectional on here, and honestly, a sectional is like the only time I will be okay with you pushing something against the wall because they're typically kind of big. But, okay, if we have our sectional on here, I would kind of move the coffee table, or, oh, you kind of want like 18 inches ish. That can be, I mean, again, depending on how you're using the room. If you have kids like running around the room, maybe you want a smaller one. But 18 inches ish, like, you want to just be able to scoot your little feet through it and sit down, but you want it close enough to where you can use it if you need to. Does that make sense? And that's 18 ish. Okay, so I would do this, and that gives you 1, 2, 3 if you sit in the corner, 5, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seats. So we've already got one more, and then we're going to add a chair to the corner. I know this is crazy. But, and this is what I did too with my client who had the crazy TV fireplace. We did that crazy long sectional, and then kind of at like this end of the long sectional, we did a chair that kind of framed the fireplace, but still left room open for that TV to be viewed. Does that make sense? To be like the real anchor of the room. But you can totally layer a chair, kind of, I would kind of angle it at the corner of that rug, okay? So then you've got 8 seats instead of 5. Does that make sense? And again, in a room this small-ish and kind of funky shaped, that's good as you're going to get probably, okay? And that's another time if you wanted to kind of flank this console table with 2 extra ottomans for the kids to sit on, or you know what I mean, whatever it may be. I don't have any in the store right now, but we can get these ottomans that are, it's like a little cylinder on casters, and you can literally roll those things around. Like, they're the best thing that ever happened. So if you have a huge family and you're like, I don't know what to do with these things, get a console table that has space under it and get a couple of those ottomans to throw under it. That way, if you have a ton of people or you're having a game night or whatever, you can roll these ottomans from here around, and then you have 2 extra seats. Now you have 10 seats. Okay? And then here I would obviously add side tables. And you can do just a little one, or you could do a bigger one. It really doesn't matter, but you can kind of fit 2 side tables in here wherever. And again, this is a big sectional. I'm basing it off of this sectional in here. And for a room that's 12 by 20, that's a big sectional. And to have that, the luxury of that amount of seating and space, be able to fit in here is like fantastic. Okay. Any other questions on this?
How do you feel about those couch tables that kind of slide under?
That's fine. I've seen that, as long as they're pretty. I've seen some really ugly ones, but I've seen some that are fine. Like, is it my favorite look? Not really, but it's super functional, and like, I'm not mad about it at all. Do you guys know what she's talking about? Like those little, it's like a U-shaped piece of wood essentially, and you just like put it under your sofa, so then like when you're sitting on your sofa, it kind of slides next to you, so you have a space to put your drink.
that make sense? Vanguard Furniture, who I sell, does a really, really good one. It's very pretty. And they also do like a section of their sectional. A couple of their sectionals have the option to have a section that has like a hard arm, which is also really cool if you have space for all of that. Does that make sense? Any other questions? Yay. Okay.
I know Ray mentioned getting ottomans that you can put under a console table. We do have a few coffee tables that also have nesting ottomans.
Oh, we do.
They're from Bramble, so you know they're great quality. Have a variety of colors. They nest really pretty. They look nice. We used to have one in Shabby over here. I don't know if we still have it, but it was super pretty. It all looked good when it was put together. You can easily pull them out. There's 2 extra seats for your littles. You didn't have to go far with it or anything like that.
Thanks for your patience. Okay, we're moving on. Any other questions before I flip the page? This was literally me last night, like drawing all of these things. It's okay. All right. So the next crazy thing I get is people are like, I have a perfectly square room. What the heck do I do? And I'm like, woohoo! Because how fun, we get to put more layer and depth and decor in there. And then we have the opportunity to kind of add a little more seating if we need to. 10 seats in one room is usually plenty, but sometimes we need more. And if you have a space that's this big, it's easier to do. But what my head goes to, if you have a big square room, is a big old bookcase, because you need height in a room if possible. Okay, like if you have room to put a taller bookcase in your room, please do, because it adds, again, it creates that cozy little vignette rather than an echo cavernous room. Okay, so no, kind of, it depends.
My fireplace sticks out. It's not built in.
Yeah, right, yeah, it depends. I mean, there can be some outliers, but typically I say no, just because then your fireplace tends to like overtake the room, and then yes, you want it to anchor the room, but you don't want it to be the whole room. Does that make sense? Like, you don't want your fireplace to be the only thing you see, and then everything else is just like, eh. So we want to kind of, again, balance that fireplace with something else. Okay. Anyone want to take a stab at what size rug we're putting in here? In an 18 by 18 room? It really depends on the furniture we're putting in here, but 8 by 10 is the minimum. Okay. Okay, yeah. I'm going to put an 8 by 10. Yeah. I was going to say, I have a 9 by 13 cut out, and it for sure would fit. Okay. And it would leave you enough room here at this opening that you're going to be fine. Because again, sometimes another thing that inhibits a rug's size is if you're going to put this, if you're going to center it with the fireplace, then that only leaves you about 28 inches. And some people have like a doorway here and a doorway here, to where you kind of need this to be a walkway. And rugs sticking into the walkway are like, it's kind of a faux pas. Okay, you kind of want to leave, if it's a walkway, you want to leave it open unless you're putting like a runner down. Does that make sense? So in this room, I would still do an 8 by 10 probably, unless we go a little bit crazy and do, I don't know. We could always play with it, but we're just going to stick with the 8 by 10 for now. And again, that leaves, is that even? No. Okay. Okay. And that leaves room down here for your walkway. Okay. And then we're going to build around it. So I'm going to start with, okay, that sofa I was playing with, is like a very typical, just like regular size 80-inch sofa, like 36 to 40-inch depth, which is typical. 36 is small, 40 is regular. We could, if you're into like a big cozy, I know everyone was like raving about the Restoration Hardware big, like deep, whatever sofas. They're fine. I can get you a deep sofa. I love like curling up in a sofa. I'm not a prim and proper sit down and, read a book kind of girl. I'm like in a ball. So I love a deep sofa, which we could make work in here. But a deeper sofa means less seating because yes, it's comfortable, but you're taking up real estate for either chairs or another sofa or love seat or you know what I mean, whatever. You're taking up real estate from that. Does that make sense? So you can do an XL sofa and do like chair, but I'm going to go in with just a regular size sofa. Okay. We're layering it 3/4 of the way onto the rug. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, I love to do chairs and sofas. I like mixing it up. You'll see in most of these rooms, it's chairs and sofas. There's a chair back here if you want to sit. Most of these rooms have chairs and sofas. It's because that's how it should be in your house. I like to kind of try to set things up in here as close as possible as they would be in your home. So, I'm gonna I put my rug way too far. Come on. Okay. Okay. So now we have a sofa and 2 chairs. Okay. And in this example, I am putting this bookcase essentially on this back wall again to kind of balance this fireplace. We have this big tall fireplace. Imagine this thing has 20-foot ceilings. Okay. You want to take up this wall space. I see so many people, they'll have this huge, literally like 16-foot wall with like a little console table on it and like one little painting or something. And I'm like, or 2 family photos or something crazy. I'm like, what are you doing? Fill it up. You have so much space. So, as close as we can to being even with the fireplace. So, we're assuming we have a doorway here. So, as close as you can to being even with the fireplace, it's okay if it's not perfectly centered on this space of wall. We kind of want to, again, balance that room. So we're balancing it with the fireplace, with the bookcase. We have a sofa. We've got 2 chairs. Okay. Again, this is for a family who is, or a person who says, I have a couple friends over every once in a while. Okay. So we're doing sofa, 2 chairs. We're going to do coffee table. You can do a Big Daddy coffee table here, like we've got there. Big coffee table. I'm trying to use things that we have so you guys can kind of visualize scale better. Okay, so you can have a big coffee table. And again, if you have this opening, like I said, and we're assuming these are windows, you kind of want to be able to see through the windows, okay? That's just kind of, again, just like a rule of thumb. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but if you want that kind of like grand open look, but we still want it cozy, so we're encasing it, but just leave the eye line open, okay? And if we need a couple extra little seating areas, I'm just gonna add 2 little ottomans here. One just for layering effects, like it will look really nice when you have 2 chairs that are, regular height, and then you have your coffee table, and then you have 2 little ottomans. Like your eye just kind of follows that line of furniture and then looks through the windows. So like you're noticing everything that you've got layered going on, but you're also seeing through the windows. You're seeing how grand the room is, but you've got enough furniture to sit on. You've got enough to kind of
layer and make it look homey and cozy and like you've collected things. Does that make sense? Any question? No? Okay, great. We're taking away these ottomans. We're taking away these chairs. Taking away this sofa. And again, you can do this giant sectional. I probably wouldn't do the giant coffee table with the giant sectional because it's just going to be a lot. But you can do either like an ottoman or a coffee table that's round. You're okay. I like, if you're going to have, again, everything square, I like to add a little bit of round, either a round side table, a round coffee table, something round, so it's not blocky and chunky. Just adds a little bit of texture. But we can add side tables to this guy. And then we can do 2 smaller chairs down here. See how that might work? Okay. Let's hope that this is an opening and there's not a walkway here, but we can always kind of shift if we need to, or make this side of the sectional smaller, or whatever we need to do. Does that make sense? Okay, so now we've got seating. And again, we can do ottoman. We can put some ottomans on either side of that big bookcase. We can really do whatever we need to do to kind of add that extra seating. And again, I would flank the fireplace with either 2 small cabinets, 2 little benches. If you don't have windows on either side of your fireplace, 2 big cabinets, or sometimes we'll do like a sideboard and a really big piece of art. But again, you need to kind of complement your fireplace with pieces that are heavy and sturdy enough to complement it. Okay. Any questions on that? No? Okay, great. And now comes the fun one. Okay. Now is like the big open floor plan living room, okay? Which I also get all the time. I kind of left this one more up for interpretation because so many people have different kind of setups in their open floor plan. So if anyone has like a, hey, mine kind of looks like that, my fireplace is over here, yell it out and I can kind of adjust. I'm looking at you. Otherwise, okay, we'll play with it later. I can also do like a custom for you. So, oh, cute. Scary. Okay. We'll talk. Yeah. Okay. So, if no one has any specifics that they want to call out, I'm just going to play, okay? So I'm going to put the fireplace down at this end. This is, again, I'm like basing this off of a client that I have, okay? So I'm going to put the fireplace here, and assuming that this is like your main floor plan, and maybe like your kitchen is over here or down here or something like that, and then like you have this other part leads to the bedroom. If this is your main living area and you don't have other, like a dining room or you know what I mean, a breakfast nook or whatever, we're going to break this up into a living room and then like an eating room, okay? So I took notes so that I could be organized when I presented this to you guys. Okay. Also, we're breaking this room up with 2 rugs, okay? So we're making 2 different spaces. So we're going to use 2 different rugs. Okay, so 2 rugs. Again, we're just using 8x10s for the heck of it. If you wanted to do a 9x13 and then make this area a little bit smaller, we could play with that. That would be, again, very based off of what your open floor plan looks like that we would play around, okay? But for this
all intents and purposes. We're going with an 8x10 here, and we're going to make this our little living room area, our seating area. And people always say, Ray, you don't want to close off the room. And I say, yes, you do. Okay. So we're doing that, and we're doing 2 smaller chairs, a 36 by 30. So it's going to be kind of like this size, this little leather size. For those of you on Facebook, it's a smaller-ish chair. Okay. So we're going to do that over here. And then again, we're very square. So I want to add a round coffee table because that's what I like. Okay. If you don't want a round coffee table or a round ottoman, we can play whatever. I like round when I have a lot of square going on. It's just more fun to me. Okay. So there we are. And again, I know I tell you guys this sometimes, a couple of you are new, but it's your house. If you're like, I don't like what you're saying, do whatever you want. I really don't care. It's your house. But I'm telling you what I would do and what I see a lot and what it looks like, you know? Also, you don't super have to match all of these side tables. Like, because I would do a square between the chair and the sectional so that both of these can use it. And then on this other side, to keep this kind of open, I would do a smaller, it's called a Creole, a smaller little rectangle side table. Again, you don't need a ton of room if there's only one person that's going to be using it. Does that make sense? So now that we've created our living space, our seating, I'm going to add so this is either going to be a console or it could be like a buffet. Oh my God. Hold on. I'm losing my mind. Okay, so this can either be like a sofa table or a buffet. If you're gonna put a dining table, I would do like a server or a buffet. You know what I mean? Something that's a little more dining on the back of that sectional or sofa. Again, we could do a sofa and do 2 more chairs here or however you wanted to kind of configure it. But if we're doing another seating area, which I'm going to show you after we do the dining, you could put a sofa table, but I'm going to show you dining first. And this is like, obviously this isn't 72 inches, but this to scale is 72 inches. So showing you that you can fit a pretty big dining table. Obviously, we would do a bigger rug if you're going to do a 72-inch dining table, but you can fit a pretty large dining table. And then you have 2 little areas. If you're having a party or you have a lot of guests over, people can be sitting here and here. You can kind of talk over, you know what I mean? So it's kind of creating, again, 2 little areas that are super, super usable, but it breaks up that room. And again, it makes it more cozy and less cavernous. I'm liking that word today, cavernous. I don't know.
What do you do for dining tables that have the leaves in it?
Yeah.
Like, what size rug do you choose for that? Like the everyday without the leaves?
It depends on what you have room for, and it depends on, like, if you're only getting it out once a year, like getting the leaves out once a year, do it regular. You know what I mean? If most of the time that you have company over, you're not getting the leaf out, get a rug that's works for it without a leaf. Unless if you have room in your room to put a 9x13 rug and you don't necessarily need it, that's totally fine. Like, I am a huge proponent of taking up all your floor space with rugs. Like, it just makes your house look richer. And it just adds that kind of depth in that layer. Yeah.
Would you recommend those 2 rugs be identical or
No.
just same color?
Coordinate. Don't match. I hate matching. Yeah, coordinate. Again, you're creating 2 different spaces. So these rugs do not need to be the same. If you're someone that's going to like bug you endlessly, meditate something. I don't know, but it should not match.
when you're creating two different areas, because again, you're creating two different rooms. So like, yes, color scheme-ish should coordinate. You shouldn't do like a icy blue, super modern looking rug with like a red, you know what I mean? Super oriental, like kind of match the style, the color coordination, but like seriously, do not overthink it. I get people who like months and months and months ruminating over matching their two rugs. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I had it picked out the second I looked at your room. Like, just pick it out. It will be beautiful. Don't overthink it. And then they get it in their house and they're like, oh my God, it's so pretty. And I'm like, that's why we have our jobs and that's why you come. Yeah. But no, don't match, coordinate.
Are the chairs matching?
Which chairs?
Chairs.
Yeah. So I would match-ish. If you wanted to, I would match these two chairs. Okay. I have seen a lot coming back into style. I don't think it ever really went out, but it's like becoming a big thing again. If you were to do a sofa here and do two chairs over here, you could do two like leather swivel chairs here and do two fabric yummy chairs over here. The only thing I will say is kind of try to match the scale of them. So I wouldn't do two huge like overstuffed crazy chairs and put two little swivels over on the other side because it's going to look very unbalanced. Okay. So as long as you're matching the scale, I think I would do two matching, two matching. Does that make sense? But it is so cool to do that. Okay. And then just one more option and then I'll let you guys go. You look uncomfortable. I'm running. I know, I'm like, actually I have so many options. Okay. Other option is, again, you can do a sofa table here behind the sofa. And if you have a different little dining area, make another little seating area here. And then you can either do like a small coffee table or you can do a small round ottoman, whatever you want to do. But then you have two different seating areas instead of like, again, one big cavernous room. And I see it all the time, even in a room this freaking big, people are pushing stuff against their walls. And I'm like, what is happening? Okay, it is insane. Don't push things against your walls. I will cry. Also, this is why we're here. So if you're here and you're like, you know that your room kind of feels a little funky, otherwise you wouldn't be coming to this. So ask me, or whoever's here, ask our opinion. That's why we're here. Don't ask me to like add the taxes or tell you what 10% off of something is, because that's not what I'm good at. I'm good at making a room look pretty. Okay. So everyone has their own strengths. Don't come here and feel bad that you might have pushed yourself against a wall. It's fine. We all make mistakes. I can't add for the life of me. I don't know what it is. I can talk and I can write and I can make things look pretty. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah. Oh, sorry. What? Glass? Oh. That's fine. Whatever you want. Yeah. I'm someone who uses all of my stuff and I like really, I don't care if things look like they've been lived in. Like my dining table is a raw wood and like that thing's got nicks and it's got bumps and that thing's been moved 10 times. I love it. I don't think I'll ever get rid of it, but like it looks like it's been lived in. And like I think that's pretty. I love antiques. I love things being, used, beat up, distressed a little. Like I do not mind. People sometimes, like people will be shopping in the store. Right. If that's something that bothers you, put glass on it. I don't care. We put this plastic stuff all over the stuff in the store because people put water and stuff on it. It's nice. And they'll get like a wreath or something with a scratchy back and just in the store. So we keep the plastic on. But again, it's not something that bothers me at my house. It's not something that I would go to someone's house and be like, you've got a nick in your table. But people shopping here are like, there's a teeny little weeny discoloration, whatever, that I honestly would not even notice because I like distressing and I like different stuff. But again, that's up to you. Go to Metro Glass, go to whoever. get a little glass top. I don't, that's not my favorite thing, but also I don't really care if I have nicks and dings and, well, you know, here and there. Yeah. I wouldn't do like a bevel or put any, you know what I mean? Just like a pretty, fine, yeah, fine, whatever. What were you gonna say?
No, if you now they're gonna move everything from the wall.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a picture on the wall and your couch is under that picture and you pull your couch out, doesn't that look weird?
If you can fit like a console table, a skinny little table, and put like some lamps, or you know what I mean, or put sconces next to your picture, or you know what I mean, like there's ways to kind of like tie it together. If you can fit a console table, I would love that. If not, talk to me. Each house is so different that I was trying to get this ready, and I'm like, there's so many different things that could happen. So like definitely these are very just like run of the mill basic, like this is kind of go to what I do and like mistakes I see people make and how to kind of remedy that. So if you have a different room and you're like, I don't know what to do, again, ask me and we'll take care of it. We do in-home consultation, so pictures are sometimes hard to work off of. Depth is weird, color's weird, whatever is weird. We do in-home design consultations, so I can come out, I can take literally 9 million measurements, pictures of my own, so that I know, you know what I mean, like the skewing of measurements. And then again, I have this, but on a computer program that's like just way nicer. It's less arts and crafty. That I then like put all of the dimensions of your room, all of the dimensions of possible furniture, like to the exact inch. I'm not going to just put like a basic sofa in there and say, this is what it will look like, because I want to know what the Four Seasons Alexandria sofa will look like in your house. You know what I mean? So we can get very customized. This was just kind of a broad overview. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
I need a rug for under my kitchen table.
Okay.
And it's a pedestal table.
Okay.
Yeah. And most of the time it's closed because it's just my husband and I. So do I buy a carpet or a rug area for just that, or when we put the leaf in?
Again, so if you are someone that has the leaf in it often, then get one that's big enough. Yeah. If it's once a year, then I wouldn't worry about it. If you have the room for a big rug, get the big rug.
So get the bigger rug
if it fits, get the bigger rug. Always. Always. I don't care what the scenario is. If it fits, get the bigger rug. Yeah. Any other questions? If not, we're wrapping up. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming and listening and asking a bunch of questions. I appreciate it.